So, welcome back to the Israel Mobile Summit, the end of the first day. And the last but not the least panel of the day, we have a panel about organic user acquisition loaded with publishers from various verticals: Rovio, Angry Birds, VLMedia, Readdle, as well as ASO specialist AppTweak. The panel will be moderated by Rozain from Rovio, publishers of one of the most known games, Angry Birds. So, hello, guys.
Hello, how are you, Rozain?
Yeah, I'm pretty great, and it's so nice to see you all. Also to see people whose games or software I played or use.
So, no, yeah. Definitely, and I think we have an amazing panel here. So please keep tuned and ask us your question. Like send it in the chat. We will keep 10 minutes at the end to answer it. Like we have, you have a really good quality of speaker here. So please send all of your questions. I will begin with some info. So I will begin with myself. I'm Claire. I work at Rovio. I'm really passionate about games. I'm doing UA. And I will let now our amazing guests present themselves. So up to you.
All right, I'll go. Hi, everyone. I'm Seyma. I'm the head of organic growth at VLMedia. You may not have heard of VLMedia. VLMedia is a company that has 6 different applications which are based, they're all dating and video chat apps, and our efforts are mostly on organic downloads, with 90 to 60% of our downloads are organic downloads. I can pass it on to Simon.
Thanks. So, hey, everyone. My name's Simon. You've already heard it. I work at AppTweak. That should be fairly easy to spot. If you don't know AppTweak, AppTweak is an App Store optimization tool. We're actually the #1 App Store optimization tool. We've been awarded Best ASO tool recently. So you can, if you're looking for an ASO tool these days, just go check us out. We have a virtual booth here at the summit. And also, before I pass it on to Dennis, a quick mention that we are hiring, including in Israel. So if you are looking for a position, or if you know someone who's looking for a position, again, head to the virtual booth to discuss with our team. They'll be thrilled.
Thank you, Simon. Hello, everybody. My name is Dennis, and I'm a board member at Readdle. And the past 10 years, I've spent at my executive role as a VP of marketing. And if you're talking about organic user acquisition, I know a thing or two, because we have a portfolio. Now it's 5 different apps in productivity space that were downloaded over 180 million times. And I'd say 95% or more were organic. And we've been on the App Store since day 1. So it's been a long journey, and I'm happy to share what we've learned.
Nice. So thank you, everyone. Really happy to have here. Here we are going to speak about how far can organic UA get you. So basically, you can get user for free. Which is my favorite price. So please, I get the first question because I did my homework and I asked my network basically what they are interested into. And it's from Annette. So paid UA can cannibalize organic. And on this one, for example, running a simple search ads campaign where you don't have any control over the campaign, for example, can set negative keyword for a game that mostly have organic. So let's begin with Dennis.
Well, as I said, we've been focusing on mostly on organic, and we've been running very, very limited amount of ads. And there was a good reason for that. As we create apps that were mostly one-time purchase, our LTV was pretty low. Given the tax from Apple, 30%, we didn't have enough money to spend on ads. And so our LTV was quite low. And only for the past 2 years, a year and a half, we've been switching to subscription, meaning that changing the product, changing the value prop. and our LTV is growing. And only now we just starting to advertise and trying different things, from search ads to different social media, paid media. And I think I have the least experience, if I'm very honest, in the cannibalization practice. However, from our limited trials that we saw on the App Store, giving our higher ranks already on the search engine of the App Store, we don't see big cannibalization when we do search ads. But again, this is very limited amount of ads and budget spent. I think probably Seyma has way more experience in that. So I'd love to ask for that.
Okay, perfect. So let's jump on Simon. So Simon, do you have any thoughts about it, like about this cannibalization topic? That is something I think that we have a lot of resources about, but still like remain a mystery.
Well, it's a topic that I've researched earlier this year. I've being head of AZ at AppTweak, I get to work with multiple clients, so I get to see different situations, and I completely understand Annette's question because you have some very strong games, for instance, that establish a great brand notoriety, and then they're just afraid of what happens if my competitors are attacking there. And so what I did from a purely theoretical research point of view was try to understand what exactly is cannibalization. And here, for me, it's a notion of ending up to pay for the installs that would not have been captured by your competitors if you had done a search ads campaign, for instance. And so it all becomes a challenge of differential in your conversion rate. If the conversion of your competitor for your brand is really good, then you will need to defend your brand name, because otherwise you're just going to lose a lot of the traffic that you usually get organically. But if you're differentiated enough, then actually there's a good chance that a lot of the conversion is not lost to your competitors, but just goes to the first organic result, which is going to be your app. And so what I've done is that I've tried to come up with a very simple theoretical model that I shared on our blog to calculate what's the real cost of brand defense and therefore of cannibalization. Because the biggest issue you have is that in the console from Apple, you would only know how much does an install cost, not knowing if it's an install you needed to protect or not. And so the model just helps you calculate how much only the protected ones cost. So you can then decide if you want to re-attribute your budget to other campaigns and just try to save your money, basically.
Yeah, that's really interesting, Simon. And do you include in this analysis like share of voice of things like this?
Yeah, absolutely. Share of voice is actually one of the things we have on AppTweak for search ads. So I'm not going to do too much of a plug, but yeah. So the whole goal here is going to be trying to assess how much you would lose if you stop defending your brand. And how much you're just cannibalizing right now. And I think what's always interesting is to see also how you're going to make assumptions on how your competitors are converting for your brand name. Because I've seen that some brands think that they're so different. Some brands are always afraid that something that's still very different is actually dangerous to them. So I'm super curious to hear from Seyma, from Dennis, from you, Claire, as well, if that's something that weighs on you. And before I let you guys share your examples, one that I can give, because I've seen this, is the very interesting strategy from TikTok when it comes to search ads. Because TikTok is literally buying almost all of the very high volume keywords available in the store, except for one, and that's their brand name. So to me, it's mind blowing.
Wow, that's amazing, and I didn't know. Simon, like, thank you for sharing. I think, I mean, I'm taking not same time, to be honest, because it's really interesting, and definitely I didn't know that TikTok was not buying the brand name. And actually, I would be super curious to know if there is a high competition for this. But let's continue on the UA cannibalization, and let's switch to Seyma. So Seyma, do you have any thoughts about the topic?
Well, I think Simon really got really into it, and I totally agree with what he said. I was going to say something very similar to some parts of what he said, obviously, but I don't have anything more to add.
Oh, but you know, like sometimes you can just rephrase it, like for new people like me. So at least you know, I understand a bit more about ASO. Like sometimes when the words are different, it's still valuable. So Seyma, I would love like to get your ideas if you have any idea about this topic, even if it's the same of what Simon said, to be honest.
Well, what I could say is it's important to defend, but it's also important to calculate how much you actually need that paid UA. So my way would be to see how it's doing organically without the paid UA, and then adding into the paid UA and seeing how much that's affecting, because your competitors really do come into effect, and it's always very important to take that into perspective.
I have a quick question, maybe, and a question to Simon. Maybe you've come across this. So to me, when I think about cannibalization, it's not always about competition, but it's about that that your paid ads will cannibalize and take away those organic people that were going to buy your app anyways. And we, in all full transparency, we struggled to figure out the exact ratio of those and the effects of the ads that we try to calculate on the Apple app search and also through Google Ads. Maybe, Simon, you've made your research, or maybe you have a formula as well, or seen people doing cool stuff, basically calculate, okay, to what extent my paid ads cannibalize my organic users that would have bought my app anyways.
So when it's with the App Store search ads, this is a formula I was already referring to. And so I'm assuming that there's no predictive part. It's just a formula that you can start using if you're already defending your brand and if you're at risk of cannibalizing your organics. I think with the larger point you're bringing, there's one part that I hope maybe one day we can theorize, but that's much more complicated. And that's the question also of, are you cannibalizing with other ad networks, whether it's like multiple touch points or where you could only have needed one touch point in the paid UA side, or whether it's about even ending up targeting users who would have found your app anyway. And here, honestly, it's something where I can only throw to other researches that have been shared from, I think I've actually seen some of them on Claire's social media, when it's everything that comes from Peggy Ansals, from Eric Seufert, etc. Like all these minds always look into it, and I think here is so much to cover. But one thing I want to know from you, Dennis, and also from Seyma is, given your specific industries, do you think the amount of cannibalization or also just brand competitiveness is the same whether we're talking about dating, productivity, or other sectors you might know about?
Could you specify the question? Are you asking about, is the amount of cannibalization, it differs from industry to industry?
Yeah, do you think it's going to be the same in productivity and in dating, for instance?
I don't have the data, but my gut tells me that that would be very different, to be honest. And especially what I've been looking into. And so we've always relied on organic channels in our, be it media, be it press mentions, be it Apple Store features, or our phenomenal customer support that acts as like enablement of word of mouth. So to give you just an example of how much word of mouth we get and recommendations, which I believe is very powerful for our lead product PDF experts, about 30% of all new installs are coming from friends' recommendations. But I believe, back to your question, I believe right now it's increasingly hard to compete, especially in user acquisition. And now we're seeing that the industry leans towards establishing leaders in each category, not just the leaders in terms of the business, but also the mind share of the business, the mind share of the category. So if we talk dating, we have Bumble and TikTok, right? And those are now not just the apps, but parts of the pop culture. So if we're talking about productivity, like what is the pop culture? Okay, like we were seeing a bunch of different apps in like it's multiplayer and single player. But to me, the major challenge that I think we will be addressing and trying to go is to create a brand that is reflected in our pop culture. So TikTok is pop culture, Netflix is pop culture. Headspace and Calm, right? Those are not just apps. Now Calm is like a way of more conscious living, and that's been the biggest trend across like for the past 5-7 years. And they are riding this wave. So to me, one of the ways that we will be focusing for sure, kind of trying to create a brand and a product that is referred by the pop culture. And once you have that, you have defensibility. You have this kind of self-proclaimed engine of distribution.
Yes, that's a really interesting point. I personally also kind of agree with you. I'm curious, like Seyma, do you think like getting a strong brand image is something that influence, as Denis said, or what are your thoughts about it?
Excuse me?
Like, do you think like getting like a strong brand image is something that give you a competitive advantage in the store, or what do you think about it?
Yeah, I do think the brand name would be very important. And if we're talking about cannibalization, I think that plays a role in that as well, because if your name and branding is known and people are searching for it, then that also means your competitors are bidding for your brand name as well. So you have to defend that name. So that would be cannibalizing your organic downloads as well, because that's your name, which is something that we are doing currently as well for one of our video chat apps.
No, that's amazing. Thanks for sharing, and definitely I agree with you. So let's, I hope it answers the question for Annette, and let's jump on the second question. It will be, I give you the ball, Seyma, as well. So is it possible without UA to rank up in store, and is it the same in Android and iOS? Seyma, up to you.
All right. So you said without paying anything, right? Yeah, I mean, it depends, I guess, for the category and what keywords you're trying to rank for. But essentially, I guess, yes, if you have a very great app and you're doing very well organically. But I do believe if you're not using any paid UA, you are kind of making things harder for yourself, because with paid UA and organic, they both feed into each other, both helping each other out to rank higher and get better results. So yes, I can give it on to Simon, I guess.
Yeah, but I get a question, Seyma. Is it like how does it work for you? Like, are you doing the UA campaign, or you ask the UA manager to to, for instance, buy some keywords in order to help you? Like, how does it work?
Well, we work with the paid UA team. We work together. So what we do is for iOS and Android, we do our separate keyword research and different analysis. We do use AppTweak. And from there, once we know what we're trying to do organically, we discuss with the paid UA team. Again, very different for Android and search ads for iOS. And after we discuss the goals and the keywords, we use their keywords, they use our keywords, and we just work together.
That's amazing. And I'm really happy, to be honest. I feel like this link between organic and UA is getting always stronger. So I'm always happy when I see like it's the case in several companies. So Simon, now up to you. Like, what do you think about this topic? Do you have any thoughts, and what are you seeing on the market?
So I think it's possible. It has become very competitive, and for me, the first reason why people think it's impossible is because you're always interested in the very high volume keywords. If we say Angry Birds, probably there's a few keywords that can come up in your mind very fast, and all of them are going to have a lot of traffic, but also they're going to be super competitive. And for those, if they are your first targets, then you're probably going to struggle a lot. But there have been some case studies in the past on how to do it purely organically. And what was interesting was that those who worked best were apps that took a lot of time, and they started by targeting some very niche long tail keywords just to start ranking on a few at number 1, or at least in the top 5. And from there, they started expanding and trying to go for slightly more competitive keywords and keep going like that. I think this is something that is especially hard to do on Google Play, because on Google Play, you have to identify not only keywords that are not always competitive, but also keywords that really match the way Google understands your app. And there's a lot of machine learning that Google is doing there that makes it much harder usually to rank for high volume keywords. You even have certain keywords where honestly, what efforts you do with only pure organic optimization is probably not going to be enough, because certain keywords are just really associated with topics that are much larger than just what the app tries to rank for. And there, what you do with keywords is only maybe a fraction of what it can be for other keywords. And when you build into that, really the challenge is trying to find which keywords you can make a difference for, start ranking on them, and just take the time. So I think, as Seyma said, in the end, it's much, not necessarily easier, but at least it's much faster to combine UA, paid UA, and ASO, because that's when you're going to be able to take a lot of learnings from what works in paid UA, apply them to ASO, vice versa. And it's something that's just impossible not to do these days, to me, because when you look at data provided by the App Store and the Play Store, they're not giving you the breakdown between organic and paid now. It's all mixed. So you have to accept that's part of the game, and you have to go for what learnings you can take and apply from one to the other.
Yes, that's really insightful. Thanks a lot, Simon. To be honest, I continue to take my notes because I don't know about everyone watching it, but personally, I'm learning a lot. So thanks a lot. And we are going to switch on you, Denis. Like, what are your thoughts about it? What do you think?
It's a very cool topic. I love this. And to add what Simon said, I'm just going to share a story from a friend of mine who did like a very interesting way, almost like hacked the way they being ranked by low keywords. So basically, they launched a new app and they realized, okay, these are the keywords that are not so popular, but like less popular. So we need less of the, like, we can rank there easier. And basically they realized, okay, we just need like 200, 300, 400, 500 installs for these keywords to be ranked higher. So they found those keywords. They wrote their own software that does like kind of this keyword search, and they found that. And then they used their customer support and customer success team to basically give the link that has this keyword in search pre-program. So when person clicks on the link, then that keyword, the search keyword, is pre-programmed, and you open the App Store on that, basically with that keyword. And then the instructions in the email say, okay, once you click this link, go download our app. And then they give some kind of incentives to do that. So with very little people, with 200, 300, 400, 500 installs, they get real results for these low touch keywords, and then getting ranked higher on those, and they expand. So very cool techniques. I like it, the way he does this thing. So that's one. But speaking to broader question, is it possible to rank higher without UA? Yes, it's possible. It does take time. For us, we've been lucky and kind of we caught the timing. As I said, we launched our Scanner Pro app back in 2009. Our PDF Experts is from 2010, I believe. Our Spark email launched 5 years ago. So as you kind of, I think it accumulates, and there are multiple factors that affect your position on the store. And I think there's no exhaustive list, but this information is kind of public. We know that many things affect your rankings. It's the conversion rate, right? What was the conversion rate from page visit to install? It's the, okay, did you uninstall the app right away or not? It's, I think Android was tracking the usage patterns. And if they saw usage and retention, they would rank it higher and give more points to that. I think Apple App Store doesn't do it for privacy reasons. At least that's what I've heard. And so there are the multiple factors. And I want us to think not only in terms of like, okay, we're buying these keywords and then we're sending these people and just seeing some results. I want us to think in terms of the product and customer experience, because ultimately what we're looking for is that the search keyword should be very relevant to the experience and the value that person receives within the app. So what we've been doing and we've been trying to do is trying to optimize the experience within the app and make it consistent with the initial search result. So for example, if a person was looking for editing PDF, we would want to show him the onboarding and some kind of like onboarding and welcome screens that are relevant to his search. So kind of thinking one level deeper. And then because of that, we might provide a better tool for the initial need, meaning that the person will be stickier with us, meaning the retention will be higher, meaning the conversion will be higher, and that will affect the user, the overall ranking on the App Store. So there is that. And one more thing about, we have a very strong competition, especially in Scanner Pro. So I think we invented the whole thing of this scanning of documents with a mobile app back in 2009, and it became very competitive niche. And some of our competitors doing very well there, much better than we do because of different techniques. So what one of the apps has done, so when you search for something in the App Store, it gives you suggestions of what your search might be. So for example, if you go and search for Scanner app, you just put SCA, and then the App Store suggests the list, and the first on the list is Scanner app. So those guys just named their name Scanner app, meaning that they have the exact match of the suggestion on the App Store and the app name. And that kind of, I think, resulted in a big upside for them in terms of organic users, and they are ranking #1 for that suggestion. And I think that drives a lot of installs.
That's amazing, and that's such a black hat practice. I'm a big fan of it. It reminds me the years 2000 when growth hacking was way more risky, and we kind of did this kind of thing. So thanks a lot for sharing, Denise. And we are on our last question. So please submit your question if you have any, and after we'll answer your question. So the last one for everyone is, what are your ASO techniques to get more users organically without spending $1? I think, Denise, you gave us one. So let's begin with Simon.
So it's there's a lot of things that can be done. One of my favorites is to say just test new creative ideas and get a conversion uptick there. Now there are some challenges because first, it's don't just change your creatives just to see what happens. You have to first think about why the new creatives would be better. So it's either what's missing from your current creatives, what needs to be improved, or what new thing you can bring with the new creatives. And there it's almost old-fashioned marketing. So it's always interesting to try to study the psychology of the user. Now, we said without spending $1, and technically here we're still paying for designers. We may have to pay for research. So I'm going to give one more, and that's just really look in your user reviews, because they're given to you for free, and you have to cut through the noise. This is why we have tools for that. But really cutting through the noise. Dennis was mentioning search, autocomplete search, which has been in the App Store for a while. Now there's search suggestion on iOS. And if you looked for user reviews, one thing that I love is looking in Google Play. Whenever there's enough reviews, Google Play starts creating with an algorithm some review topics. And that can just tell you what your users are talking about when they talk about your app, or what your users are talking about when they talk about your competitor's app. So now you know what topics they're interested in, whether good or bad, and then you just have to figure out what good topics they speak about your app, and what are the bad topics they bring up when they speak about your competitors. And then you can go back to the whole creative side, and you already have a lot of hypotheses to test.
Yeah, that's amazing, to be honest. And I think like user reviews is really something that needs to be really closely followed. So thank you, Seyma. I think it's an amazing tips. Seyma and Denise, do you have any thoughts about this? Like, what is your thing to get a lot of users for free?
So one thing that I always, it's basically, again, what Simon said, but we have a motto. We say never leave an empty experiment spot. So we're always testing something, but we have a list of like different hypotheses beforehand. So it's not just like random tests that we're experimenting. The main goal is to always to better understand the user. So we are giving what they want. So it's always about the testing and the conversion rates for us. And again, with the reviews, trying to, again, the goal is to understand what the users want. And they do tell us very harshly in the reviews when they don't like something or when they want something. So we're always reading, answering, and testing.
Yep, one thing that people love and what we've tried, and I think I'm proud of this. So speaking of user reviews, of course, it's nicer when you, for example, you search the app, and then you come there, and then you see that a developer is replying people, and then that just gives in a kind of this credibility, and that, okay, there is a real company, there are people who care. And then I think that also helps the conversion. What we've been doing, not just only on the App Store, but for our products. So when our users, our avid users who love or hate our products, send us stuff that they would love to have in the app, be it Scanner Pro or calendars or documents or PDF Expert or Spark Email, especially for Spark Email, they have a lot of ideas on how to improve the email experience. So, and so basically we write down every single request, and then we remember who requested this. So when we launch this feature in the future, we send a personalized email saying, hey, Simon, you've asked Spark to have this feature, for example, of a limited attachment size, or you wanted kind of this little feature that we've added that. Here you are, just get the upgrade for free. And that blows people away. They just, oh my God, guys, I never thought you would remember what I've asked, and now you've done it. Thank you so much. So kind of they become our big fans, and it works really well. People are really happy about that.
I love this. Are you happy, Simon?
Oh, I love it. I'm just so excited to get unlimited attachments starting tomorrow. So.
No, that's amazing tips, to be honest. I don't know, Eugene, if we have any question. I'm not seeing the chat, but do we have anything we could ask to our panelists? Are you here?
Oh, me? Yeah, sure. sorry for that. Yeah, thank you guys very much. Yeah, I have a couple of questions, more questions. Well, you mostly, as I heard, focused on how to approach the organic user acquisition, and some things what not to do. For example, as Simon or Simon, not sure, said about creatives, like don't rush to change them, first try to think it through. So can you maybe provide a kind of a guide of what not to do when going organic user acquisition, like list of common mistakes, of common misinterpretations people do?
So who wants to take this one?
I can see Denise just dive into thoughts.
I mean, I can begin, and after someone is going to jump in it. And you know, like me, the most obvious for me is that I see a lot of app bursts in store and people that pay bots, you know, like to rank up. And I would say, don't do this. Like on my past experience, like we ranked up like for 2 days, and then like we ranked down like for 3 months. So just like assess the risk and get your goal. Like even if you want to do a hard launch for a game, for instance, or an app, really like keep in mind, if you do an app burst with a UA, I mean, speak about it with your ASO manager, basically. This is mine.
I guess I can add to that and just say, make sure people from different sides of the growth team, and I'd rather speak of growth team than marketing team, because to me, growth also includes product. Make sure everyone speak to each other. Because the worst thing that can happen is just one team deciding to focus on let's say a specific keyword or a specific creative, and another team just removing it completely from what they're doing. So yeah, mine will be just communicate. It's important.
That's exactly, yeah. Thank you very much for sharing that. That's one of the first rules of project management, for all the involved parties to communicate clearly so they're all on the same page. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, well, like anything. I was asking in general, but yeah, sure, anything.
I mean, I can begin with UA, and then our amazing panel is going to continue. But on UA, basically, yes, you have in Facebook, you used to have this dynamic language optimization, then you have the dynamic creative optimization, and now you have the AAA. So everything is going dynamic. It's the case for a long time on Google, and it can seem like a black box. So I would say, like, you need to be resilient on what you are doing, and on your text. If you test your ASO test on UA, definitely be cautious about the kind of campaign you are using. And I would say as well, read your comments, because sometimes you're learning a lot with your comments. Like sometimes you're saying something and just like, you know, like you forgot to put later in a word or something. So this also happens. So read your comments. Simon, I see you have an idea about it.
Oh, I think the read the comments, it's just like reading the reviews. But yeah, for just trying to optimize the creatives to the single exclamation point, I have mixed feeling about it, because it's a sort of rabbit hole that can really make you lose time, and at the same time you never know what's actually going to come out. So my advice is, whatever you choose to test, look on an actual device how it's going to look like. I've seen background color changes that were super effective, and that's just because you see it immediately and you don't know why, but you prefer, I don't know, yellow instead of deep blue. But other changes where you think, oh, it's so good, it's going to be so important, they just don't work. And some that I've seen, I could actually predict it, because this was a developer that was having an amazing work from the designer, except the designers were focusing on screenshots that were after the fold of the carousel, and a lot of people don't scroll. And so there was a lot of time that was spent on some things that maybe 5% of users were going to see. So I think if you're thinking about doing any sort of iteration on your tests to really find the optimal one, know what to try, but also don't be afraid to try, but know when to stop as well.
Yeah, sure. I think we'll all be there when you take like 95% resources and get 5% result, and then after you get 5% of resources and get the rest 95%. Yeah, I think that just people need to go through like is the must be thinking in life. But yeah, anyway, well, thank you very much for the panel you gave to us today, guys. Please feel free to reach to all of our lecturers on the platform if in case you have any questions. And for you guys, well, thanks again. And I hope I see you in 22. I wish you a happy upcoming holidays. Or should I say to Claire and Simon, bon année, Seyma, Yanilin, Kutlu, Olsun, and Denis, наступающим. Thank you very much, guys. See you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.